to share a word about Deb and Roz.
Thank you both for teaching me. I love you. You are both amazing women. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for teaching me. I really enjoy learning. It's really making an impact on my life.
Deb and Roz, thank you for teaching me all these years. I've learned a lot from you. It's amazing you can put up with us so long.
Deb and Roz, you two have been very influential in my life. You taught me about Israel and Hebrew, and if it wasn't for you two, I wouldn't be the Jew who I am today.
You always find a way to make things fun and entertaining. Whenever you guys are around me, I feel like I have a whole nother family. The things you teach me make me feel more Jewish. Teaching me about Yeshua makes me feel happy on the inside, and I thank you guys for giving me those feelings.
Thank you for being such amazing teachers and helping me to be a better Jew. And thank you for being so tolerant with us. Very annoying.
Roz, thank you for answering the call and sending Deb to be our Hebrew teacher. Deb, thank you for teaching me Hebrew over all the years. I could not have gotten this far in my studies without you. You have been so much more than a Hebrew teacher to our family. I love you both, and thank you for everything.
Deb and Roz, thank you for teaching me Hebrew and being not only the better person that I am now, but being an influence to people around me.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to share a few thoughts of my own on this occasion. You know, because of our small size as a congregation, we're really more of an extended family than we are an organization. Because of the stability in our membership. You know, we've joked, we don't have a lot of comings, but we really don't have a lot of goings either, you know? And because I've been the rabbi of Congregation Zeraham throughout its history and before, for all of these reasons, my relationship to you all, to the congregation, is quite different from the normal rabbi-congregation relationship. When I look at Deb Farrar, where's Deb Farrar? Again? Deb Farrar in the back there. When I look at Deb Farrar, I don't see a Hebrew teacher, but I see a girl who I first met 41 years ago when she was in high school. And who's been my baby sister for all those years. Or when I look at our noble president, Abby Karatny. Where's Abby again? Oh, there she is. She's in the back too. And when I look at Abby, I see someone who I first met when she was a student in the dorms at, I think, South Quad. Was it South Quad? Yeah. You were at South Quad 38 years ago. You know? And of course, I was also co-officiating at her wedding with David. But that's just typical of our life as a group. It's a very unusual group, and my relationship to you all, I think, is a very unusual one. I think when I think of you all, I don't think of a group of people to whom I need to preach, who somehow I need to guide or motivate to do something you don't want to do, or who somehow I need to modify or alter or change. I don't sit and think, okay, these are the ways that this group of people has to become something other than what they are in order to somehow or another match up, and it's my job to get them there. Instead, I see a dedicated and godly group of people with whom I am grateful to share my life. I think of Yeshua's challenge to his followers to be the salt of the earth. Salt which preserves a world and makes it something tasteful to God. When I think of you, I think of Avraham Avinu and his prayer to God that he would spare Sodom for the sake of 10 tzaddikim in their midst. And of course, when I'm thinking of you, I'm not thinking of Sodom, I'm thinking of the 10 tzaddikim. And when I think of you, I think of the Jewish tradition of the 36 hidden Lamed Vavniks. These 36 people whose humility and goodness preserve the world. And when considering the past 20 years that we've had together, and the peace and the good order that has prevailed among us, I'm especially mindful of two people we've already honored, but who have quietly and inconspicuously made everything else possible, namely Larry and Zora, who I think really embody this sense of being the salt of the earth, being those tzaddikim who preserve the world, those lamed vavniks that make the world whole. Just as the salt has an impact on the earth, and just as these tzaddikim preserve the city, and just as the lamed vavniks preserve the world, so our little congregation has had a big impact. Many of us don't see it. I see it because I'm the one who's traveling out there and having more contacts with people within the Messianic Jewish world. Locally, I've seen it through the things that Alan and Izzy have done through the Shoresh Institute. I've seen it in our liturgical life. You know, when we had our first Hashivenu forum, which I think was in 1999, I brought benchers along in order to for us to say Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after meals. And almost nobody there knew how to bench. We had been benching already, regularly as a part of our meals. And so we started to do it. And now it's a common thing in the Messianic Jewish movement. But I didn't know another group that did this, except for us. Congregation Zera Avraham. We developed this pattern of celebrating Hazikaron, this unique Jewish way of celebrating, remembering the Lord Yeshua. And this is something that we now do every year at Hashivenu, and it's been imported into other congregations around the country. And twice at UMJC conferences, we've done the celebration of Hazikaron connected with the Amidah. And there are other congregations that are doing that too, and that was pioneered here in Congregation Zera Avraham. Through our approach to issues related to being authentically Jewish as a congregation. I mean, we were really taking this on and looking at it in facing the tough issues. We started doing that about 13 years ago when there was almost nobody else in the Messianic Jewish movement talking about these things. Carl and Robin have gone on to do in the life of the Messianic Jewish movement, in Messianic Jewish Theological Institute, and in the New School for Jewish Studies. So many others who come and visited us, and I could list them off, but I won't. Our congregation was instrumental in the founding of Messianic Jewish Theological Institute. when I was, that was one of my main things I was doing. And Deborah Farrar was assisting me. I still teach in MJTI, but really the heart and the soul of MJTI right now, and anyone will tell you who's involved with MJTI, is Deborah Farrar. Deborah Farrar is a hero. She is worshipped in various places around the country. Honestly, I mean, for what she does in MJTI, for the way she cares for students, for the incredible thoroughness she has in watching over every detail of the school. It couldn't exist if it weren't for Deb Farrar. And that is something that is growing out of our life as a congregation, that's impacting hundreds of people around the world, who then go on themselves to be teachers within the Messianic Jewish movement and more broadly. Alan Singer has been a major force in Hashivenu, in the Messianic Jewish Rabbinical Council, and among Midwest Messianic Jewish leaders. He is beloved. I mean, we all love Alan, but really, there are people around the country who you mention Alan's name and they smile. You know? Roz, for years was working and had a very big impact on the life of many women in the Messianic Jewish movement, leading an organization, Nachalat Nashim. And there are many, many women in the Messianic Jewish movement who look to Roz as their mentor. And these are women of tremendous substance who are themselves having tremendous impact. Someone like Jen Rosner, who was just recently married, who's a PhD from Fuller Seminary, written a book that's going to eventually, I think, really make its mark in the area of Jewish-Christian relations. Roz has been an incredible help to her, and many, many others in our movement that Roz has touched. Abby was on the board of Achot, the sisterhood, for the UMJC for an extended period of time, and was a leader there. Izzy taught at a UMJC conference, and because he did such a great job, he was called in to lead a women's retreat for the Messianic congregation in Columbus. Hannah Roussel is now, making this amazing contribution in the Messianic Jewish world as a whole through being one of the main leaders for the Young Scholars, the Young Messianic Jewish Scholars Conference, and as a counselor in Or Lador. And of course, we know for Hannah, the sky is the limit of what she's going to be able to do. She embodies the life, the ethos of who we are as a congregation. None of these individual contributions would have been possible apart from our congregational life together. What Izzy was talking about, the community that we share together, the love that we have for one another, the family that we are together. In sum, our movement, our wider community tastes better because we have been here these 20 years and the years before. Our future, like the future of our movement, like the future of the Jewish people, like the future of the Christian church, like the future of the world, is uncertain. Yet, we're the seed of Abraham. We look to the future with the eyes of faith, believing that the few bodies in this room are but a pledge of something as vast as the stars in the sky and the sand and the seashore. So, as the prophet Zechariah said, Lo v'chayil v'lo v'koach, ki im beruchi amar Adonai Tzebaot. Not by power, not by might, but by my spirit, says Adonai. Now I'd like to have us, in just a moment we're going to conclude. Before we do, I wanted to have Zora read a very short poem to us, written by someone who was a member of our congregation in past years, who's still a good friend of our congregation, and who wrote this poem while she was a member of the congregation. So, Zora.
Cynthia Parker wrote this poem, and it's entitled Sunrise. I am awakened with the first of his songs, and he becomes the breaking of morning within. stirring me with longing to seek him, to behold him in the midst of prayer where the Father dwells. Draw us under your talit, Yeshua, the way day embraces the sky, and give brightness to our path, that our lives might mirror, like light upon water, your radiance.
Now I want to lead us in a prayer of thanksgiving for all that has happened in the life of our congregation. We're going to do it as a CZA version of the Passover Dayenu. So your response in English is, it would have been enough for us. Remember that? We're going to do this in English, and together, it would have been enough for us. It would have been enough for us. If Adonai had brought us together for Passover Seders, Emmaus Fellowship services, Shabbat meals, and Messianic Jewish Bible studies, and not enabled us to become a congregation, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had enabled us to become a congregation, and not given us the ever-reliable one, Larry Singer, as president for 16 years, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had given us the ever-reliable one, Larry Singer, as president for 16 years, and not provided the ever-faithful one, Zora Singer, as treasurer for 20 years, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had provided the ever-faithful one, Zora Singer, as treasurer for 20 years, and not given us a beautiful Sefer Torah, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had given us only one Sefer Torah and not provided us with a second, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had given us 2 Sifrei Torah and not guided us in the development of our liturgy, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had guided us in the development of our liturgy and not given us wisdom for the celebration of HaZikaron, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had given us wisdom for the celebration of HaZikaron and not sent us Ben and Marion Kinzer to be a blessing, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had sent us Ben and Marion Kinzer to be a blessing and not sent Helen Kameroff as a mother to us all, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had sent Helen Kameroff as a mother to us all and not given us Beit Kelev on Ember Way as a community center, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had given us Beit Kelev on Ember Way as a community center and not guided us to become part of the Union of Messianic Jewish Congregations, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had guided us to become part of the Union of Messianic Jewish Congregations and had not enabled us and had not joined us with Rabbi Stuart Dowerman in the forming of Hashivenu, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had joined us to Rabbi Stuart Dowerman in the formation of Hashivenu and not made it possible for Rabbi Mark and Deborah Farrar to participate in the formation of Messianic Jewish Theological Institute, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had made it possible for Rabbi Mark and Deborah Farrar to participate in the formation of Messianic Jewish Theological Institute and not open the way for us to take part in the formation of the Messianic Jewish Rabbinical Council, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had opened the way for us to take part in the formation of the MJRC and not given us a vision for an authentically Jewish expression of faith in Yeshua, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had given us a vision for an authentically Jewish expression of faith in Yeshua and not led Rabbi Mark to write post-missionary Messianic Judaism, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had led Rabbi Mark to write post-missionary Messianic Judaism and not inspired Alan Singer to serve as assistant congregational leader, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had inspired Alan Singer to serve as assistant congregational leader and not also inspired him to lead the Shorish Institute in service to the local Christian community, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had inspired Alan to lead the Shorish Institute in service to the local Christian community and not sent to us through Cell family, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had sent to us through Cell family and not made it possible for Isaac to serve as assistant congregational leader, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had made it possible for Isaac to serve as assistant congregational leader and not given our congregation such wonderful children, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had given us such wonderful children and not provided Roz and Deborah to oversee their Messianic Jewish education, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had provided Roz and Deborah to oversee our children's Messianic Jewish education and not opened the way for our teens to attend the Or Lador summer camp, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had opened the way for our teens to attend the Or Lador summer camp and not inspired Hannah to organize the Torah Ninjas, it would have been enough for us. If Adonai had inspired Hannah to organize the Torah Ninjas and not given us a home at Calvary Presbyterian Church, it would have been enough for us. Adonai had given us a home at Calvary Presbyterian Church and not provided us with beautiful new siddurim,
It would have been enough for
If
us.
Adonai had provided us with beautiful new Siddurim and not enabled us to reach this 20th anniversary celebration.
It would have been enough for us.
If Adonai had enabled us to reach this 20th anniversary celebration and not given us hope for years of blessing and faithfulness to come.
It
It
would have
would have
been
been
enough
enough
for
for
us.
us. Die, die, enu, die, die, enu, die, die, enu, die, enu, die, enu, die, enu, die, die, enu, die, die, enu, die, die, enu, die, enu, die, enu. How much more so then do we have reason to give thanks? He brought